episode 6. Oh my gosh, episode 600 is now being recorded. Whew.
Better than ever.
Gosh, I tell you, these audio challenges are some of the most challenging things ever for me, ever.
Well, not a guy. We somehow managed to put all this together in the studio.
Well, after 600 episodes, you would think that the audio video would get easier, but it's definitely not. It's definitely not. So this is episode 600. If you guys are catching the show live, it should be streaming. There could be some audio issues. So if we're there's probably nothing we can do about it until until after, but we did make some changes, and hopefully you guys are hearing us okay.
Okay, well, I see you, which is a good thing.
Okay, that's a good
Okay,
thing.
okay.
Okay, cool.
Let's hope.
So for episode 600, I wanted to bring you in, baby bear cub.
It was supposed to be a happier morning.
I know.
It's been high stress.
It's been high stress trying to get this audio.
Yeah.
and
trying to
video
get,
working.
Get the twins watched, get the audio working. It's been nutty.
Yes.
But here we are.
So yeah, we'll take some questions in the chat room, and we'll just talk about our journey through health and.
I thought you were going to say through hell. We'll talk about our journey through hell.
We'll talk.
Tell everybody how it is.
Yeah,
Report
it's
back.
very hot. It's very hot. Hell is.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, so our journey through health and doing this show and why we started it and what we've learned. I'm still laughing at.
Popular show, though. Everyone wants to know what it's really like.
Yeah, what is hell really like? I'd like to know.
I wonder what happens if you Google that.
What is hell like?
Not the direction I saw our show going.
Not the direction. So where do you want to start? I see some people in the chat room. P900 is there.
Nice.
Cool. Gloria Bailey. Awesome. Thanks for joining us.
Nice.
P900 is back. P900 cool pics.
Nice.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Ooh.
so where do you want to start?
What's a big episode? Congrats.
Thank you. Yeah.
Do you remember the very first episode?
I remember, I was just sharing.
Episode number 1.
I was just sharing this. Do you remember it?
I wasn't on it. It was Ty Bollinger.
Yeah.
Yeah, in our old apartment.
Uh-huh.
And I remember being nervous in the other room
Yeah.
and thinking, okay, I have to go to my salon job. I'm going to make sure and listen at the door, make sure he gets started okay.
Right.
And I remember thinking, okay, Ty's on the phone. I can hear him talking through the thing. I'm going to go, I hope, it goes well. And I went to work, had a full day. And I remember you called me, though, like 2 hours later. And you're like, that was so great. Like,
Yeah.
I love this. I love talking to Ty. Like, it went really well. And I thought this is going to work. Like,
Yeah.
this is a good thing.
It was nerve-wracking buying all the equipment and sort of going after your dreams like that. It was really nerve-wracking.
Have you told people that story?
You mean like
Where we were and how you decided to do it? And
No, not really. I mean, it was cool because we had this dream of doing it, or I had this dream of doing it, and I didn't know like if it was going to be something that would be successful or people would listen to it. I didn't know even know
Well,
if I was going to like it.
we should back up and say you had this dream of doing this while you had just taken a, quote, safe job.
Yeah.
Probably the better
yeah.
paying job, the best paying job you'd had. This is like I'm sitting here day in, day out doing something I hate. And it was only like 2 months in, and you had this dream of doing this. So you're like,
Yeah.
what do I do? Do I do the safe thing? Or
I remember
I don't know
that.
if you've ever shared that with people. But
Yeah, I had this really great job, local job in town. I didn't even have to drive there. I could ride my bike there, and it was super well paying, best job I had ever had in terms of pay. And I remember working there, and it was just horrible. Like the work environment was no good. It was just unhealthy, and the guy I worked for just was not nice at all. And it was just a bizarre
you came home
time.
so depleted every night. And I thought this
Yeah.
was like sucking the life out of you. It was bad.
Yeah, it was not fun.
No.
So yeah, I had that going, and then but all the while I wanted to start this show and do this, but it was like something that since I just had a new job, there'd be no way I could start this. And so since that job was going so horribly, do this, and I forget, were you working full time at the salon at that time?
I was working full time. It felt like a little bit of a safety net, but we thought, oh man, like you're going to have to give up everything if we're going to take this leap. Faith
Yeah.
and just go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was working full time, but still, I mean, we had an apartment, we had a car payment, we had a dog to keep alive, we had ourselves and our, we have an expensive food budget, really.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
we eat really good food, and like all of our money goes to bills
Yeah.
and
90%
food.
of our money goes to food.
It does. Like,
Yeah.
it's painful sometimes, like the whole paycheck, whole food
Yeah.
thing. But yeah, we had a friend come over one night, one of my girlfriends. Remember that?
Oh yeah,
And
Mary.
we were sitting there having a glass of wine or something, and you walked in from your job all dejected and messed up and just talking about how much you weren't happy. And she was the perfect person. It was like God just sent her that day.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and she's just like, go for your dreams, I remember we were all fired up and we talked for like 2 or 3 hours, and by the end of it, you're like, I'm done. Like, you're like, okay, I'm going to do this. And you stood up and you were like, I'm done.
But the most surprising thing was it was like we were struggling, financially before then. And then I had got this job, which was really great. And then it turned out to be horrible.
Mm-hmm.
So what surprised me was that you supported me. And Marin, I remember her looking me in the eye. I remember I was sitting in that chair right by the door and she was sitting on the couch across from me.
Yeah.
And I remember her looking me in the eye, just saying, you have to quit.
Yeah.
And then you agreed with her. And I was just like, I was so surprised that you agreed with her.
Huh.
And then that gave me a little bit more confidence to quit. But I didn't want to put all that burden back on you, because I think at that time you were struggling with your health too.
It was.
As a result of being in the salon all those hours, breathing those chemicals and stuff.
Right.
So I was a little bit more on that from a financial perspective, to alleviate you, because I knew you wanted to be out of the salon too. And this meant, crap,
Be there
if
more
I
often.
do this and I walk away from this job, that's going to put more pressure on you, which is exactly what you didn't want to have at all,
Yeah.
So that was,
Yeah, I remember feeling that way, but I just thought, I can't see you like this. I can't have you feeling like this. Like, if you're doing something you love, ultimately it will turn around,
yeah. Yeah.
And we just had to go for it. I don't know what overcame me either, but I was like, I just felt like you needed to spread your wings and go. So
Yeah.
we did. So then we went to Tahoe. We went on a family vacation like a month later.
I remember
or
that.
a couple weeks after that conversation, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And we were up there in the mountains, and we had this cabin. My family had the main cabin. We had the little guest cabin behind, and we went on a huge hike, and we were talking about how to get this thing going and what kind of equipment we need. Numbers that it would take just to get the microphones and the recording stuff in the computer.
Because there's a big mixer and a bunch of software I had to buy, and the cables and all of the different attachments. It really added up to a lot.
It did, thousands, and you
Yeah.
thought, we didn't have thousands. We were thousands in debt,
Yeah.
What else is new? Like most people. But I remember we went back from the hike, and you called your parents and said, could we put this on a credit card or borrow the money or something, and we'll pay you back.
Yeah.
But we're just going to go for it if it's okay with you guys. And
Well, they had already offered, but I didn't want to take them up on it, because I don't like, I don't want to borrow money for things.
I know.
I don't really like to do that.
It's
So
risky, but I know. But you did.
I did. Yeah.
And then we were in the little room in the cabin, or actually it wasn't the little guest cabin. It was a room in the main cabin.
It was a room in the main cabin. Yeah.
We were laying on that bed. We just got back from the hike. You put everything into the cart online, and you're like, do I hit the purchase button?
It was like something that I wanted to do, but I didn't know if I was good at it. I didn't know if it was going to be popular. I didn't know if I would like it. Maybe it would have been super popular. I would have been great at it, but maybe I would have hated it. Or maybe I would have, some other combination of those three things, where it's like, okay, now I'm going to borrow all this money to purchase equipment, and then I just quit this job I can't go back to, and then I start this thing and I don't like it. Now I got to pay for this extra stuff. So I was really nervous.
Yeah, well, rightly so. It's a big deal. No,
So-
I know.
Yeah, and so that was July, and then the very next month, which was August.
Of 2012.
Yeah. I'm surprised I did that, because the world was going to end. Remember that, in December of 2012.
Well, then you'd have nobody to pay back. So either
Yeah.
way, you were fine.
I had like 5 months of starting a show before the world ended. So nervous, because there's no way to know if you like to be behind a mic, or like to do, like, if you want to do, let's say, YouTube videos or something like that, you could record a couple videos, but without doing an interview with a person that you've never met before, that you've only met for a couple minutes,
Right.
it's kind of nerve wracking. And so I remember Ty was nice enough to be our first guest. And at the time he had 20,000 Facebook followers or something. And I was just so nervous. Like, he's going to share this with all of his, fans. And I was just, oh man, what if people don't like me? And then you start worrying about what people care. Then you start getting so derailed from like your principles in life, and, not how much you care if people like you. I I never did, but it's just weird putting yourself out in the public for the very first time like that.
Yeah.
Just coming out of nowhere. So that was so nervous.
But it went really well, and he was an easy. You like, okay, this is what I want to do. Like, you felt like it was the match you were looking for.
Yeah, I felt good about it. I felt like what he shared was going to help people. I wasn't really concerned with getting a lot of numbers and people listening and downloading. I was just wondering if I was going to like it. If I liked to meet someone, like we were talking about this the other day, how bizarre it is to meet someone for the very first time and then all of a sudden go deep in conversation with them. It would be like going to a cocktail party or like a Christmas party or something where you're just meeting people for the first time, but then you start talking about, insanely deep health, spiritual, political principles.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird. It's a weird thing to.
Right. I remember that.
And so, yeah, it was. So when I got done with that first interview, I thought, okay, I really enjoyed that. Like, that was really fun. I really liked it. And hopefully I wasn't too nervous when I did it. And hopefully it recorded right. We had less audio problems then than we do now.
Jeez, right.
But it was really good. And then I thought for a while, okay, let me just see if I continue to like this. Like, let's do this for 3 or 4 months. And if I continue to like it, I hope I continue to like it. I don't have to do this, but
I remember that.
I felt a little bit still kind of weird about it all. But
at that point, at the 3 or 4 month mark, did you feel like you were pretty settled?
Yeah.
In your head about the whole thing?
I felt good, and I felt like I could do this, and it wasn't something that I disliked. I think the challenging part with it is producing all the shows, and it takes a lot of extra work. A lot of people think that you just sit behind a mic and do an audio or video interview, but it's much more than that. So
yeah, I think to draw people out, that's why I just have so much respect for people like Oprah, and there's a bunch of podcasters and people that I respect too. It's such an art. It's such a craft.
It
and
is.
After 6 years, I feel like I don't have a handle on it at all. But there's some that you get on like a soapbox of something and you're like, oh, like that went in a direction that was like really cool, and you felt like you were, and then the next day you just suck. Like
yeah.
But when you're
stumbling
interviewing
over your
someone,
words
it's just, oh my gosh, whether it's you, me talking, or we're interviewing someone, it's like such a craft.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's so many different sides to this, because each person has, like, if you look at their psyche or their emotional state, like a piece of, or a whole pie, we all have so many different slices to who we are. And so when I'm interviewing someone, I want to, like, I have selfish sides of that person that I want to talk to. I want to know specific things, but then I think, okay, do those things that I want to ask that person, do they resonate with the audience? Do they want to know about these things? And if into like 20 minutes, maybe I'll ask 1 or 2 instead of all 3 or 4, just for my own personal benefit. But then again, I don't want to ask questions that I already know the answers to, but yet the audience wants to hear, because that's just boring for me. Because part of this is a selfish thing for me. I really want to get to know these people and learn what makes them tick. And so there's this delicate dance between what does the audience want to hear and what do I want to hear, and then what does the guest want to talk about? Sometimes the guest doesn't want to talk about, like, we just reached out to a Dr. Len Saputo, and he did a whole YouTube lecture and Facebook lecture on artemisian, which is this compound. I don't even know much about it, but it's this compound that apparently destroys cancer cells. So I reached out to him and I said, hey, let's talk about this. And then he said, no, I got a whole thing about light photobiomodulation I want to talk about. And I got all these slides. But I wouldn't want to force a guy like that to talk about something he doesn't want to talk about. So there's this, like, it's really challenging to bring out what the guest is passionate about, what I'm passionate about with the audience and mix those three together to make it be something that is listenable for people, you know.
Yeah.
And,
It holds interest. Yeah, that's a really good point.
it's hard. I give it, like, it's weird because someone like Oprah, like, you know, she's so talented at what she does, and it's weird because you listen or watch her and you think anybody can do that, but then when you try to do it, it's you realize it's a gift, you know. It's a real gift.
Yeah.
And you have to be good at it, and you have to want to work on it and be better at it, you know, as a presenter, and you know, because you have to be. It's challenging because you have to be entertaining, you have to be educational, you have to be dynamic, that people want to listen to you. Everyone should take a course in communication, because if we can all be better communicators, we can help rally people. So you have someone like, you know, if you have a really important message to get out, but you can't convince anyone to go do anything about it, then it doesn't matter how important the message is. It could be that a meteorite's going to, you know, come out of the sky and destroy the whole earth. But if people don't listen to you or people don't rally around you, then it doesn't matter how important that message is, you know.
It's funny, like the speech courses we took in college, you know.
Oh, I remember those.
It's a joke, but you have to find like a subject, and it's never something I don't feel like anyone was passionate about.
Yeah.
If somebody got out there and talked about like some asteroid that was going to hit in 2135, or you know, save the whales or something, but usually it was just like, these are owls, this is where owls live, this is what they eat, like, you know, or some kind of stupid, I'm not saying owls are stupid, but you know, like, it was just something that I got to do this project, I got to pick something, okay, I'm halfway passionate about that, but standing in front of the group and delivering it wasn't like, I don't know,
it's weird,
it's weird. It's funny, like, I love the show Fixer Upper, you know, Chip and Joanna Gaines.
Yeah.
And I read their book, The Magnolia Story, and I watched some interviews of them on YouTube.
Yeah.
And it's funny because they talk about the moment when they were filming the beginning, the sizzle reel, to see if they were going to get the show or not.
Yeah.
And they talked about the moment when the cameras disappeared for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, it was like, he is so full of personality and life. He like clammed up and was like in the corner, like all to himself. Like nothing about him shone in the way that he normally is.
Yeah.
And she was all weird, and they talked about like a week of this strangeness of these cameras following them around the house, and then a situation happened where, you know, she got really upset with him about something he did, and it's like she was so upset, and and he said that was the moment when the cameras just the cameras just disappeared, and they said that's when their real personalities came out. And I thought, that's so hard, even with a show like this, you know, to have the camera or these mics disappear.
It's hard.
You and I mean, I feel like we do a pretty good job of being who we are usually, like here versus at home. Like,
we're pretty much the same.
It's pretty much the same, but still, it's funny to have this thing in front of your face. You still feel like you maybe censor yourself, or you talk a little different, or your voice sounds a little. It's just weird. Yeah. So I feel like in 600 shows, I feel like I've gotten mostly more real with, you know, myself and how I communicate, but I have so far to go. Like,
we're getting better.
Yeah. What shows have stuck out to you? Like, or like what in 600 shows, like, what have you learned, or who's impressed you, or what kind of ideas or philosophies have you changed your mind?
Been a big journey. This whole thing has been such a journey, like from learning. I think I've grown so much from doing the show itself and learning a lot about different people, but this whole thing is a journey too, because it's hard to say, because a lot of people have affected me on the show, but their work in general has affected me more than them. I'd have to say Dr. Cruz would be the number one impactful person, because there's something that just really makes you feel like you can breathe a sigh of relief when you realize it's not all about food. Like, isn't that just so nice? You know, I mean, sure, you don't want to eat sugar, and sure, you don't want to do all these things, but there's something nice about realizing that it's not all about food.
So you really do like believe that now? Like, that's become a changed, pretty, like, what's the word? Like, I'm trying to be a better communicator. No, it was something that it's completely shifted for you? Like you thought it was all about food and it's done a complete 180?
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
And it stayed there. Like now you feel very sure of it. Like you're
Yeah.
pretty assured that that is
I'm
right
pretty.
philosophy.
I'm as sure as I can be, without actually cutting someone open and looking at what mitochondria are doing. But I'm as sure as I can be about the work that he talks about. And like when I used to think it was all about food, it was so hard because I would judge everything I ate, and there's lectins in this, and there's phytoestrogens in that, and there's chemicals in this, and
Glyphosates in that.
glyphosates or phytates, and it's all these things. Like you could put together a whole list of things you shouldn't eat, or you can just you should and you shouldn't. So it becomes this weird sort of debate, and so when you start realizing it's not about food, it's more about light, it really is like, but then you really got to dial in your light environment, and so that's been fun. But also I think Dr. Massey has been one of the most influential people as well, because I think his work, the spiritual side goes above the light part. I think it's the spiritual, emotional, then it's the biophysics and light, and then it's everything physical, like your exercise, your diet, and all that stuff. And so I still like to eat well. I try to eat well. I haven't changed my diet much. I still eat the same, but not placing as much emphasis on it has been pretty nice.
Yeah, it's really freeing. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, I know how affected you've been by the work of Dr. Kruse. That's pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm. I've turned into Bono.
You have turned into Bono.
Yeah.
I don't even think Bono knows why he does it, but hopefully it's helpful when he's at all those shows and things to not have the lights affecting his mitochondria. Gosh, I'm trying to think of like the most impactful thing. There's just been so many people. I think to me the spiritual physical connection, talking to different guests that have really drawn a line that connects those two things for me.
Really?
Yeah. Because for a while there, I was so focused on like what you just said, like I was focused on the right foods, the right supplements, especially with digestive difficulties. Like I was so afraid and petrified if I went outside of the circle of, sulfur foods that I wasn't supposed to eat or something that had wheat in it. I was really scared of having we're going to be able to venture outside of this circle of like 10 foods I can eat.
Right.
And for a while there, I really was really reactive to where I couldn't eat other kinds of foods. But I have done a lot of emotional, spiritual work along the way. And I think that has paved a new road for me. I feel like once I got more healthy and forgave myself for things and forgave people in my past for things, got out of my toxic job, I really do feel like things have opened up.
Yeah.
In a way that, and I know you mentioned, I think Monday's show about Lissa Rankin, Dr. Lissa Rankin, who we haven't had on the show out of
we should get her on the show, huh?
She's great.
Yeah, I bet
she wrote that book, Mind Over Medicine, and that was a really crucial, impactful.
Did that impact you?
Life. Yeah, big
Did
time.
it?
Mm-hmm.
I remember you reading that. Yeah, I think you read that around the time that we came back.
13 or 14.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, she hasn't been on our show, but that and Louise Hay's You Can Heal Your Life, those two books have been, were super impactful as far as enlightening and shining a flashlight on the spiritual, physical, emotional connections and how important it is to, take that leap and do things for yourself that are going to be healing, even if they don't make sense to anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like when I did that and got out of my job and started doing the podcast with you and learning from all these different teachers and healers and learning just how no one has a handle on all the answers.
Yeah.
And
people think they do.
People think they do.
Yeah.
And then I got frustrated for a while because I thought, this person says this person denies this person is against that person, this person says you're crazy if you believe that. And it just got to be to where I was like, I'll just talk to these people honestly and just hear what they have to say. And then
things with our show is I say this all the time, but it's so true. Like we get so many emails from people asking like, oh, what do you think? You know, like how many emails do we get about either Anthony William or what's that other guy? Roberts von Sarbacher.
Oh yeah.
You know?
People are always emailing.
Is he a scam or is,
nobody gets back to me, or what's his email, or is he hiding, or like what's his deal?
Yeah. Or
what's that product?
Yeah. It's just crazy because like people are just, I think they want to like have a health guru and they desperately just want to do everything they can to not be that themselves. And that's kind of what we're trying to do, is to empower people to be that for themselves. And that's, people don't want to do that because ultimately personal responsibility is not something that is easily cultivated in your life, because you have to take responsibility for everything.
Right.
And that sucks sometimes.
As a
Yeah. Like
master.
ultimately we're involved in the creation process of everything that happens to us or for us. Like,
Yeah.
That doesn't sound too good if you know what I mean? Like you want to say that everything is a result of some random chance or something.
But we do play a big part in the responsibility aspect. But yeah.
I think you came on episode 75, I think, didn't you?
Yeah, you did a lot of shows without me at the beginning.
Yeah.
I was still working at the salon, and
Yeah,
I think I was. Was I 75?
I think so.
Shoot.
I don't know who that guest was though, but I remember you had like some drinks of wine before the show.
Oh yeah.
Because it was so
I was so nervous.
Yeah.
I remember doing a couple of like shot glasses of red wine just to like take the edge off.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
I know, it was ridiculous. I remember thinking I'm going to be on this health show, and I just like
It does sound funny because most people that are healthy,
yeah,
it's like avoid wine. You know?
Probably not the best. I wasn't as strong.
That's so funny.
Like I was very nervous about it, but I don't remember who it was, to be honest, either.
I don't either.
But whatever it was, I kind of got that high coming off of it, where I thought that was fun. Like,
it is cool.
This is cool. These people were really nice. There's been times that have made me nervous where the guests have been like a little snarky or weird, or just awkward, or responded in a way that you're like, that wasn't very nice. Like, they're in this health world trying to help people, but that doesn't come across at all, and that frustrates me. And
remember, we had one guest he said to us, "You better send me a written." What was it? Something written that absolves me of any legal liability or something.
And this is before the show, and we're trying to say,
this was before we went on air.
Like, we're ready for you. And he was just like,
he was so upset.
Yeah. Right. He was just so nervous about getting like.
Well, the reason why I'm like, I won't throw him in the bus or say who he is, but the reason why is because I think he's been in prison. For some of the work that he does. So, he's very careful about what he puts out there.
I don't blame him.
But he was I remember very abrasive,
Yeah, there was a way to do that was a lot nicer. He could have said, hey guys, real quick, do you mind, sending me? But he's like, we will not proceed until we have this email in writing right now. And then we're like, and then it kind of made us flustered, remember? And you're like, let me try to write something. And did you get it? He's like, nope, we're still waiting. It was like,
well, I figured
if
he was going to do that one more time, I was going to be like, okay, you don't get to be on our show because, like at some point, if you're trying to make it more difficult for us, you're just not going to be on our show. And so this is the way it works. If you don't want to be on, that's fine.
Right.
But, we're giving you a platform here to talk to thousands of people. Oh, well.
Yeah. Yeah, it turned out to be an okay one. That was weird though.
Yeah, that was
odd.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no, he ended up being cool. Trying to think of, the work of Dr. Richard Massey.
Mm-hmm.
You were right about him. You'd heard him on other shows before we got him ever on our show. And then when we went to Texas to visit our dentist,
Dr. Nunley.
Dr. Stuart Nunley.
Yeah, the best dentist ever.
Oh, he's amazing. We spent some time with Dr. Massey at his home. It was so lovely. And I just thought, this man's onto something. Like, he gets the whole spiritual emotional connection,
Yeah.
As well as, he did my live blood cell analysis, and working with him was really life-changing to me, I thought.
Mm-hmm. He's one of the few people that I think understand all aspects of health. There's not a lot of people that I think get it all.
Right.
From the light piece to the spiritual piece to the physical piece. levels like he does.
I think so too. And then to understand all three of those and still have like a good time. Because I realize in our world here,
Yeah.
a lot of people are so serious about things.
I know, right?
They can't let go. And it's like so refreshing when we were visiting Dr. Massey. I think he'd either just gotten back or was just going to like a folk festival.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
like a music festival for 3 days. And I thought he knows how to have a good
Oh,
time.
he goes to
Like,
those all the time.
It's so cool
Yeah.
because he's so normal like that way. And
Yeah.
you know, and then in the back of their house, they have a stream that runs through, and he'll take, really refreshing dips in the stream, and he's just like a normal. I don't know. He seems more able to let go
Yeah.
and joke around. He laughed a lot and
Yeah.
enjoys music, and I don't know. To me, that was just like sometimes in this world, people get so uber focused, laser focused.
Oh,
on
completely.
something they can't have like a life, or they're even hard to laugh sometimes. And I thought what it is we're here to enjoy. Why try to live a long life if you're
If you're going to be
not
upset.
going to live life?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You got to be
So-
able to laugh and have a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, yeah, I'm trying to think of who else. I mean, there's a lot of interesting things that we've talked about on our show. The idea that oral pathology, like to me,
Oh,
when I
good
first
one.
learned about that, about how, cavitations and root canals in your mouth can actually be the trigger for certain cancers and things like that. Like that's a really interesting concept to me that I never would have heard of, in the mainstream media. And I don't really hear I listen to a ton of health podcasts and I don't hear anyone talking about that, except for a few people.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting idea, starting with your oral hygiene. Because, I first thought, like, how could a cavitation cause a cancer? Or how could a cavitation cause a heart attack? But when you start relatively boring subject, your mouth and
Well, until you
Yeah.
have an issue like me, that didn't even like.
that's true.
I'm a firm believer in the oral pathology because of my own situation, and then when we went and got our cavitations.
Oh
taken
yeah, tell
care
people
of.
about what happened with that. Remember
Well, this is
your
what's-
finger?
Yeah, this is what's so strange. I still have like a little scar here on my left thumb. I was having weird stuff happen with my body where I was growing what looked like warts or growths of some sort all over my left finger and then on my right knuckles, and they almost looked like boils. Remember that? They started to become really like
They look like your skin was
weird,
bubbling up.
bubbling up.
Yeah, like
and
you got burned or something.
did that go on for like over a year probably?
Yeah, it was a while.
And what was strange is I'd been to a dermatologist. They burned them off at the very beginning with that liquid nitrogen or whatever.
Oh, I remember that.
And they ended up coming right back. And then I thought, I'm not going to do this anymore. That was obviously it's not coming out externally. So I had gone to Dr. Stuart Nunley in Texas and got my root canal tooth removed.
Mm-hmm.
And within like
You only had one removed, right?
one removed. That's
Yeah.
all I had in my mouth. Yeah. And within I thought I was crazy. Within 5 days of coming home.
No, it started to happen, didn't
Was
it?
it like the day?
That same day you said, I think something's going on and I think these are changing.
It was right away, and I asked you, I'm like, am I nuts, or does this look like this is going down a little? And you said, it does look like it's oddly going down a little. And I think within a week after, they were almost flat.
And you've been working on trying to get rid of these things forever.
Forever,
Yeah.
a year or more. So obviously, whatever was these growths on my finger were directly connected
Mm-hmm.
to the tooth. And what was strange is Dr. Nunley's office is so cool. They give you a chart of what tooth reflects to what organ.
Oh,
and
right,
things like
right.
that. And there was something to do with the left side. Boring. It might have usually bored me, this subject, but now I'm totally interested because when something happens to you,
It all of a
gets
sudden gets
personal
interesting. Yeah.
really fast, you
Yeah.
know? Same with digestive stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, all of a sudden I care about, what is SIBO? I never heard of that before. Or,
Right, right.
there's all these things that you could care less about when it's someone else's journey, but when it becomes yours,
all of a sudden becomes interesting. That's true.
that was super impactful. So yeah, I agree. I'd never heard of the connection between, before starting the show, I didn't know the connection between anything really.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it is weird. What's weird to me is that there are still people in the world that don't think that food affects your health. Like they think, oh, if you don't eat a certain food, then maybe you'll lose weight. But they don't understand that, like, oh, wow. So the food you eat and the things you consume or don't consume can be directly related to some sort of pathology. Like, it's crazy. Like like that. Like,
Right.
I always find that to be very strange. Like, I think that we're living in a time where everyone should be able to know that, but maybe not, you know. Maybe if you're just stuck in the same kind of paradigm you grew up with and you don't search for anything on the internet, your mind never gets expanded. And but that's so weird to me, you know, that people still think that. So
Well, I guess why would people search out, like, I don't know. I mean, when you're in line at McDonald's or a fast food restaurant to get something and you think,
do you think people that are standing in line at McDonald's, do you think they understand that the food they're eating could cause a disease? Or do you think it would only cause, or they think that it would only cause them to gain weight?
I think most people that it would cause them to gain weight.
Wow.
Yeah.
I guess so. I guess that's right.
Yeah.
But wow, what a crazy.
It might cause some internal damage. But I think that they'd be thinking, I'll just do this right now. I'll try to do better later, but right now I'm on my lunch break. I got 15 minutes. I can't be bothered. I just have to eat something.
Yeah.
Because it does take a lot of preparation to choose healthy.
Oh gosh.
And make healthy and buy healthy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
it's a lot of work.
I think the people that are aware enough to know it's damaging, whether they think it's going to give them a heart attack or it gives them a disease, I still feel like they go out of convenience and budget.
But I would think that not everyone would even think it causes a disease.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think my family thinks that.
We've talked about that before.
Yeah,
That's
I never
so
grew
weird.
up thinking about that.
Yeah.
I never thought that the food you put in your mouth causes a disease ever.
So what did they think? That it's completely random? Like, oh, so and so came down with this causes?
I think it was more like everybody in my family. It was like something went wrong with that person's body. Bummer. Like something went wrong in their body, and their body like attacked itself, or their body became weak. But I don't think we never thought it had anything to do with food.
And you think that they still think that?
Oh, for sure. For sure.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think, they're aware enough to go, oh, I ate something went a little weird and now I don't feel good. Like
right.
directly like, oh, my mom's gut, she'll eat something and then she'll feel crappy for 3 days and then be like, okay, I'm okay again. It just didn't agree with me.
Right.
But no, I mean, as far as like disease causing, no, I still don't think that they think that it's directed. Like my little nieces and stuff, like they have allergies. They still have a little bit of cradle cap and they're 4 and 6 years old.
They still have cradle cap?
Have like some
wow.
some weird stuff on their heads, from allergies of eating, I believe.
Wow.
Asthma, a ruptured appendix. They're 4 and 6 years old. Like
they've already been through the medical system through and through.
Yeah, and it's like, gosh, and then on the way home from the hospital, they'll go get In-N-Out to celebrate.
Celebrate leaving the hospital.
Like go grab burgers, cheeseburgers, or somebody on the meal train brought them, a casserole laden with all kinds of things that's not going to be good for a little girl just recovering from a major surgery. But I still don't think my family thinks that.
But your parents, but your sister and brother-in-law, they must, maybe they don't either.
I think that they think things like green juices and adding good things in.
Like, oh, it's healthy.
It's healthy. But I really don't think that they think that things cause disease.
Yeah, that's strange.
And I think that a lot of people struggle with the, like St. Jude's Hospital, for example, like the kids with cancer and all this stuff. It's like, oh man, that poor little kid, like something just went wrong with their body really early. It's tragedy, but we don't know why,
Mm-hmm.
But it's like they haven't even thought about what was the mom eating? What kind of vaccines did the mom have? What kind of, like it goes so many generations.
Right. And it's so multi-layered too.
So many multi-layered. There could be so many reasons why that poor little kid gets diagnosed like that with something at such a young age. And
I have a friend of mine whose son just died 2 days ago. 16-year-old son from some kind
when
of
you told me that last
sarcoma.
night in the kitchen, I about fell over. I'm shocked.
I know.
When was he
diagnosed?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think maybe a year and a half ago or a year ago or something. 16 years old.
Man, we've lost a couple people in the last month and a half.
Yeah, we have. Yeah,
it's
it's a good reminder for me to keep doing what I'm doing. Like it really, I remember it was one of those things where I was working on the Dr. Massey episode, and I remember thinking it was like 11 o'clock, and I'm thinking to myself, I got to get to bed, but I want to publish this show before I go to bed. And then, you know, I thought, and then I found that news out, right? And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, how sad, right? And then I'm thinking, okay, I got to publish this show. Like, this is why we do what we do.
Yeah.
And I get up in the morning, and there's like thousands of people that have heard it, you know, already.
Wow.
In like a matter of hours.
Wow.
So, you know, those people are going to be affected. And I'm just, you know, who knows if those people would have listened anyway, or maybe they just stumbled across it by chance because I happened to publish it at that time. Who knows? But I just remember thinking, like, this is why we do what we do, you know, to help educate people. And, you know, it's so sad, you know? Oh, yeah.
Can I read that?
Yeah, please. In the chat room, I'll look and see what people are chit-chatting about.
Yeah. On Facebook, was Sherry saying, poor young lady is skeletal? Is she talking about me? Did you see that? Does
On
someone think
Facebook?
I look skeletal? I don't know if she's talking about me or someone else. But yeah, I'm definitely not skeletal. I'm
definitely not skeletal.
Recovering from a twin birth, and I have some extra pounds on my body for sure.
Well, she's saying you look like you look.
I don't think I look skeletal.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, I have a big old belly, but that's I
Yeah.
don't know if that's a compliment or
Yeah, so P900 says that yeah, we keep losing the audio. Okay.
Oh,
So that's one of the issues that we have here, guys. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, it's one of those things that we're working on. We don't know why the audio the chat, Rice. Okay, so yeah, okay. Yeah, Kate, I want to hear about that.
Well, it's just really interesting because I was watching, or I follow a lot of people on Instagram, but I follow Elizabeth Gilbert, the writer. And when we were in the kitchen last night talking about your friend's son who died, it just, after reading, I'll read this to you and then it'll put it in perspective. But she wrote, and this is on, I believe, Labor Day. So she put, my father is a Vietnam veteran. A few months ago, I witnessed a very touching conversation between my dad and a woman his age who had been a hippie and anti-Vietnam protester. The woman said to my father, I was against the war, but I'm sorry that we didn't respect your service and sacrifice back then. My father reached across the table, took the woman's hand, and said, thank you for saying that. But here's the thing. Your side was right. The protesters were correct. The Vietnam War was unjust and inhumane. I didn't know it back then, but I know it now. You were right. Longer. Then the woman said, but all the same, I thank you for your service. And my father said, and I thank you for your protest.
Nice.
And I thought, that is a powerful story, first of all. I mean, for that to happen and for her to be around to hear that. But I thought, you know, isn't that all what we're doing now with the health world or with anything? Like, we all might not agree with each other. We all might think, you know, there was something that your friend could have done to save her son. Or like my friend who passed away last month, it's like, should I have shared more? Should I have done more? You know, when he said, this is the path I'm taking. And I said, well, I support you no matter what. Or you know, with your mom choosing to do things to her body right now with this, not even cancer diagnosis, but she's choosing things that we wouldn't. But it's like, at what point do you just agree to say, you know what, that's okay. Right. And it's all okay. Whatever people want to do. I never want to be, you know, coming at someone and telling them something. I want to be a beacon of hope on our show. Out for the people that are looking and searching, but all the same, whatever they choose, it's like at the end of the day, we just got to say thank you for doing your best and picking what you think is best for yourself. You know?
Do you feel any guilt at all for not sharing more with your friend who died last month of cancer? Do you feel any guilt?
No, I don't feel guilt.
You don't feel guilt?
No, I don't feel guilt, but I do know that like sometimes I don't share enough about what we do. People don't really know what we do. It's
really hard, isn't it?
It's hard.
It's hard because I'm sure people that are watching or listening are thinking the same thing, because you have someone in your life that's going through something very incredibly challenging.
Yeah.
And they've never heard of this idea before. And you have some concepts that could change everything for them. But like, how do you tell them what they're doing? Is it's
or
re-
that you
it's
don't
really
want to scare
hard.
them in the midst of it and tell them it could kill them, or like
Yeah, because if you
you don't
scare
wanna bum
them,
people out.
that's takes away 30% of the placebo effect, right?
Right.
So if you're scaring people into not believing that the chemotherapy and the radiation or whatever treatment they choose is damaging,
Right.
then you've just given them, you've kicked the leg out from underneath their chair, but you haven't given them any alternative options.
Right.
And
Well, here's the thing though. It's like sometimes I feel like, okay, I might not have all the answers. No one does, but I'll direct them to Ty Bollinger's Truth About Cancer
right.
and let them go down that, watch these doctors and people who they might respect even more.
But remember, you did that.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. I did
Yeah.
that. And then what happened is the friend I shared it with got really upset and was like
Upset with you.
upset with me going, great.
What did you share with her? Why did you?
Well, and it was totally out of love, because she was about to
So she had breast cancer before?
about 5 years prior.
And
been
she
through
did traditional, regular treatments?
regular treatments,
Okay.
chemo, radiation, the whole deal. Then it had been at bay for 5 years. Then she got re-diagnosed.
Right.
So a woman I worked with, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like I feel like I needed to say something. So I sent her a link and an email and was like, I just really feel like I need to share this with you. It's running, and it was the time when the Truth About Cancer, whether it was a replay or I don't know.
It's actually
what, but it
coming
was
back
free.
again too.
Okay.
Yeah, it's coming back,
good.
I think, in a month or so. So we'll send links out for that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That is just an exceptional, phenomenal
Yeah, it's really good.
program. But anyway, yeah, she got upset saying, great, I'm basically like going down this road. I've already made decisions. I watched it and now I'm super confused and I'm super like, I know. And she said, I know you're doing this out of love, but now I'm just like, she was crying and saying how like I messed things up.
Did you talk to her in that state, or is she just told you on text or email or something?
No, I talked to her. She confronted me like a week after because I said something.
Was she still upset with you when she spoke to you?
Well, she wasn't upset with me. She tried. I mean, she was, but she wasn't,
Wow.
She came to me at work and just said, she started crying and said, like, I know you shared this out of love, but it's taken out of like, I'm taking offense to it because here I decided this. Now you throw all this information at me and now I'm really concerned and I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. So she was mad at herself, or upset with herself. But it obviously hurt my feelings because I was like, I'm just trying to love you. Like, I wouldn't have shared with you if I didn't know. Or would I have? Yeah, I probably would have shared, even if I know it would have made her have to face that and make some decisions. So she did end up doing conventional treatments.
Did she?
Again. Mm-hmm.
And how is she doing now?
It seems to be where she's the same as she was before, where tumors have,
in touch
with her.
So she's still alive and
she's
going.
Still alive.
This
and
is
what's crazy is her husband was diagnosed with cancer, so they've both been through treatments right now.
Oh
at the
my
same
gosh,
time.
are they going through it right now?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
His was it was a form of brain cancer.
Oh my gosh.
It's crazy.
What's his prognosis? Or what do they say?
I asked her about a month ago. They had done a surgery, and he's handling treatments well, whatever that means. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know if anything's going away or if it's just that he's, not his brain's not being
It's
impacted.
it's so challenging because, like I'm sure everyone listening and watching, like we all have people in our life that we are going through stuff and you want to share stuff because like I'm wondering, people listening, would you feel guilty because all of this stuff is sort of a crapshoot in a sense, right? Because we don't have, the a little bit of an inside joke there. But like if you were to give someone some options, if someone says, asking you what you think they should do, and you say, I think you should do all natural treatments, and then they, for whatever reason, do them, but they don't work, and the person ends up dying.
Yeah.
Would you feel guilty for that? Because here's the thing too, it's like we all want to rail against chemotherapy and radiation, but if anyone should be championing that idea, it's me. My mom's been through the ringer. I have a firsthand story of my mom who was diagnosed 23 years ago with cancer, went through chemotherapy, radiation, surgery, bone marrow transplant, less than a 10 or 5% chance of survival, and she's still alive, and she went through all that.
Right.
So I don't know if she had done the Gerson, would she is. Maybe she wouldn't have had the recurrence of the cancer that's come back now. Or maybe she wouldn't be here. I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
no one knows. And so, do you take that risk of scaring someone out of a treatment that they were going to do
Right.
and take on the responsibility of
Is it
that?
scaring them out of a treatment though that they were going to do, or is it empowering? Like in reality, it's empowering them to make a better, like a different choice. I
Well-
shouldn't say better, because whatever they believe is best is what they're going to believe. But
Well, I mean, I think it's empowering, because when you start really learning the truth about these things that you're not told, then you start understanding. I mean, knowledge is power. So having real knowledge and not just the skewed studies that they give to you, that's empowering to me.
yeah.
But some people find it very frightening because they've just lived a sort of information at the very last second, and they got to make a decision because their doctors are telling them, hey, you only have 2 weeks or a week to make a decision, and they're calling them. And
In that case, do you think that fear is a good thing? Do you think being afraid of a treatment all of a sudden is a good thing?
yeah, kind of. I
Because
mean,
that's weird. I don't think fear can motivate in some strange ways, and that might be a good way in which fear can motivate.
well, that's like we were talking about your parents the other day.
Mm.
Your mom is fearful of doctors, and I think your dad is too.
Yeah, I think so.
But they are notorious for never going to the doctor. They don't get their regular annual checkups. They don't
Right,
get
it's
their.
because they're scared.
It's because they're scared. And so, is that fear benefiting them? It seems like it, but ultimately you want to deal with that fear. But for some reason, for them, it seems to be working.
Right. It's like what keeps them from doing all these drugs they would suggest them doing, or tests that that they unnecessarily need to run, and
Right.
go looking for things.
Going searching around for what's wrong with them.
Yeah, because you're always going to find something wrong.
Right. Or some level that's not what they want it
Right.
to be
Some
at.
blood work's always going to be weird, or
Yeah.
and they're going to try to put you on something. And
So in this sense, fear is good for them.
right.
But is it ultimately good for them? Because they're also fearful of trying like a green juice or trying something
Right.
good for them.
Right.
So that the
can't-
fear goes both ways. It's like,
I can't tell you how many times I've offered my dad a coconut bliss bar.
a coconut bliss bar.
Yeah, the
What's one
coconut
of
ice
those?
cream covered in chocolate with almonds.
Oh,
on
the
it.
coconut. Yeah.
Coconut Bliss brand. They're
I remember.
packed full of sugar, but it's
Well, I mean, it's
when you don't eat dairy and you're
but they're made with honey,
breastfeeding. Yeah,
honey and agave. I think
it's great.
so. It's better than
I'll have that as a treat.
Yeah.
Bars in the fridge, or I'll come out and be like, "You guys want a coconut bliss bar?" While I'm eating one, and they always look at me like, "No,
No,
we're
we're
okay.
okay. It's okay.
It's okay.
It's okay.
I'm like, "Are you sure?"
They're really
We
good.
just ate lunch. Okay. Like finally, my mom and dad gave them the other day, and they're like, "These are really good." But it was like a year of offering them a coconut
Hey,
bliss bar.
I've got a coconut bliss bar. It's infused with 55 new chemicals. Okay, we'll take one.
Totally.
Okay, we'll have one.
But Frosty Freeze down the. It's weird though. It's like people get used to having what they're used to.
Right.
And I don't know what they think it was going to do to them, but it was almost like they were scared of the coconut or something. And they thought, oh, I don't know if they just thought it wouldn't taste good because it wasn't real dairy. I don't know. But I
Yeah.
just laugh. I go, man, my family is just so like, they're not open to like, if they can't eat a coconut ice cream non-dairy bliss bar, why in the world would they try a green juice or
In Tahoe, and it wasn't even a green juice. It was
it's like carrot,
carrot, apple, and beet.
beet.
I mean, you can't make it more sweeter,
And
more
I
sweet.
think a little bit of lemon or something.
And he said
He's
he
like-
didn't like it.
Yeah,
It's
he
too
said
s-
it wasn't his thing.
Well, it wasn't. Yeah.
Which is so weird though, because growing up, we had those V8 drinks, that were in the aluminum can.
Right.
And I remember that thing just tasted like your front lawn. Like it wasn't good.
Yeah.
But he
somehow
loved them.
drank those.
Yeah, it was weird. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I thought if anyone should be open to trying a juice, it would be him. But surprise.
Yeah. I mean, like your sister was trying green juice to give her daughter's green juice for a while, but I think people just don't understand. This is where like knowledge and education I think is really important, because if you just think that, oh, it's a good way for them to get their veggies, but you don't really understand what's happening in the body and how the body functions and works and what it it's not just tied to disease, but it's also tied to like optimal health and having energy and having all of your processes work correctly. You know, when you don't understand all that, then you don't know why you should do it. And so
Right.
there's no motivation to do something. Like last night, I don't know if I told you, I got in the sauna for the first time. And
No way.
yeah, I did the sauna.
No way.
So there are sometimes like, yeah, if you have multiple reasons and a deep understanding of why you do certain things, that's super important. Because sometimes I might be motivated by like the sauna, for example, or rebounding outside. I love rebounding on our Bellicon. Sometimes I just want to listen to a podcast that I saw the day before, and I have no other time to do that than because I don't drive really. So sometimes the motivation is like, I just want to learn and listen to this podcast. Sometimes it's like I think, oh wow, I want to, breathe fresh air. Sometimes it's like, oh, I just want to break from the kids or break from whatever's going on, a break from work. Sometimes it's like, oh, I want the actual benefits of jumping on the rebounder. So there's like 4 or 5 different motivating factors, and you're not going to be motivated by all 5 or 4 every time. Sometimes it's just going to be one of those things that draws you. But if you don't have like a knowledge of why you're taking a supplement or why you're doing a rebounder,
Yeah.
then it's hard. Like, why would you be motivated to do it? You know?
Yeah. No, you're totally right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I think it's important to have for everyone to know why they're doing. My dad is really great at like he'll do anything. Like he'll take any supplement. He's open to everything,
Mm-hmm.
but he doesn't know why.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's not really interested. That's not his thing, and that's
Mhm.
cool. But if you're really trying to go
Motivated by people that are motivated.
yeah, that's true.
Sometimes you're around people and you're like, cool, like that guy has a green juice. I don't know why this would be good for me, but he's excited about it. I'll be excited about it.
Yeah, yeah,
Whatever.
I know.
Yeah.
You know,
Again.
it's cool though. It's cool that you're starting to see more healthy, like Jewel we're just talking about, more healthy celebrity type people.
Yeah.
That's really encouraging.
Yeah. What was she starting a health and wellness music festival?
Some kind of
combo?
festival,
That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
People are waking up.
Yeah.
Alanis Morissette. There's people that I feel like are totally. Where was I seeing? Gosh, I was seeing. I don't remember. I saw something else where somebody had a restaurant and was doing green juices or something. Anyway, it's cool that people are, waking up.
Yeah, yeah.
Whatever it takes, right?
Anything in the chat that's that people are saying here?
Not on Facebook. How about you?
Jason says the sound keeps coming out. Yeah, I apologize for that, Jason. It's this whole
If you can even hear this.
yeah, if you can hear this.
Bust.
Jivosh says, I think like Kate. That's cool.
Oh, that's nice.
Tom says, see you in a bit. It's like he's going to go out.
Oh,
like,
okay. See you in a bit.
He's like,
yeah.
oh, I got to go out, take the trash out. See you in a bit.
Nice.
I love it. That's so cool.
That's good.
Yeah. So what other things have you learned or enjoyed about the show, not enjoyed about the show, or what other like growth things have you had as a result of getting into all this stuff?
Gosh. It's so funny. I've wanted to like reflect back on stuff the last like 48 hours, since Monday, since we knew we were going to do the 600th show today.
Uh-huh.
And it's like quickly make food, and then if I'm not making food, I'm hurrying up to take a shower to go to bed to sleep while they're sleeping.
Right.
And it's so sad because I know there's so much more that I would say and reflect on had I even been able to go back in our archives and just look at the guests and people like that. But I don't know. Overall, I've just learned not to judge myself.
Yeah, and forgive yourself.
And forgive myself and let myself have seasons.
Yeah, yeah.
I think there's seasons for things,
Mm-hmm.
There's seasons to be really like where I've been really anal and really on my supplementation and healed from a myriad of debilitating things, really chronic illness, digestive problems. And then being pregnant was a whole different season where your body's in this hyper mode of hormonal changes and you can kind of get away with more and allowing yourself to just be. And then breastfeeding now, it's like you have to have all these calories I'm always eating. I'm like just constantly blowing it with my diet. and it's not ideal. Like, I'll eat a piece of sourdough bread, and I'll think, I know this isn't the best thing for me, especially with glyphosates and things you hear about. And I'm not going to be too proud, though, to be like, I eat perfect and I never blow it, or I have forgiveness for myself, but then there's a whole new motivation when you do have kids, because you think, this is probably getting into their systems, and that's not ideal. And I would have thought that I would have been above that or whatever, but I am allowing myself grace, which for the first time kind of feels a little bit nice,
Yeah, I think there's a time where you really need to, like, for me, when I first got into raw food and stuff, I was coming out of just a standard American diet, you remember?
Yeah, I do.
And which was facilitated by you.
Why?
27 cookies on my 27th birthday, consumed in 27 minutes.
That's not true. That part is not true. Maybe it was 24 hours, 12 hours.
A horrible diet, a diet that was leading to disease for sure. Just so much carbohydrates and so much processed food and standard American diet kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a season for that bouncing back, that ricochet, but that rebounding. Yeah. Where you just go the opposite way for a while. And that's kind of what I did for 7 years with the raw food thing, is completely the opposite of that. And then you kind of find your new sort of normal. And then
the pendulum swings in the middle.
The pendulum swings, then you find your sort of balance spot, and I think that having forgiveness for yourself is super, super important, I think.
It's interesting that you said that. I did have that thought going to bed last night. I thought the same thing with like religious beliefs, faith stuff, I thought when I started this journey, and then I kind of, for the first time in my life, had to ask myself hard questions when you have these guests on who are seeming to speak truths you've never heard before and enlightening areas that needed to be illuminated. And they go, gosh, do I believe that? Or why would I not believe that? Or why do I believe what I believe? For the first time in my life, really, and to not have such a blind faith, more of like a questioning. So I felt like my pendulum kind of went over here too, and I'm out here questioning things, which is really the best thing that's ever happened.
Totally.
And then kind of swung back to now where I'm kind of in this really neat balance of in a cool place with God,
openness, but
it's real.
Yeah.
It's real. And it's deep. It's deeper than it's ever been.
Right.
And that I realize God's okay with, my uncertainty or my questions, and that doesn't scare me like it used to.
Yeah.
So that part of my faith journey through this has been really awesome. But God's never been more real to me after the last 6 learning and praying and a lot of failing.
And forgiveness, forgiving yourself.
And forgiveness.
Yeah, I think it is like, what does it really take to question our beliefs? I'm someone who likes to question my beliefs.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people, or a lot of people don't, and I understand why, because it's a safe thing to feel like it doesn't matter what your belief is about veganism, about being a raw foodist, about being a Republican, about being whatever, like whatever your belief system is, it's a safe spot for you. It's a place for you to feel warm and cozy. And as long as you only interact with people within that small little frame, then you can always feel good about life in the world and things like that. But when you start getting outside of the box and you start questioning everything and start asking yourself the question, like, what does it take to question my beliefs? Like, to really question your beliefs, it really makes your whole life feel in flux. But I like to live in that place of, like, when you read quantum mechanics books, it's quantum possibility, where all options are a possibility, So if it's like a wave particle or a light beam, it's like it could become a wave particle or a light depending on the observer of the experiment. And so it's the same thing with living in flux, is like there's always this possibility that could be. I like to live in that uncertainty kind of, because I think that people that have all the answers, we gravitate towards them because they're always typically like very dynamic and they're very well spoken. Maybe they're good looking and they feel like, they have it all together. And somehow that is something that we're all drawn to. But and the living in the mystery of this whole thing. That's where that's where I feel most comfortable. And I think that's what you do too a little bit, is like you like that as well, really questioning your beliefs.
Well, I think that's a good point, and I think that's true because we live next door to my grandparents. For people listening who don't know, my grandpa's 95, his wife's 83, and she's been put on hospice for a brain cancer that she's had. And I find it really interesting that the hospice chaplain comes over a couple times a week, And I thought, gosh, if that was me and I had this chaplain coming to see me, people find so much comfort in someone else who's an expert in religion or the Bible, or, because these people are basically saying, you're in good hands. When you pass from this plane to another dimension, you're going to be safe. It's going to be fine. Here's what the Bible says. But it doesn't feel that great because that guy's alive. He hasn't died. He
doesn't know.
He doesn't know. So it's really funny to for people to put their trust in someone telling them something who hasn't. I mean, it's debatable whether we've all died and come back or not, but
right.
But theoretically, it's like that guy hasn't gone through that, or that he remembers. So it's like to just basically tell someone that's ahead of you on the journey, don't worry about it.
You'll
you're
be
in
fine.
good hands. This is exactly what's going to happen.
You'll be all right. Yeah.
Or this is exactly what's going to happen. How does anyone know?
Right.
So if you can come to this place within yourself where you're so okay with God that he has you and the plan is good no matter what it looks like.
Right.
Then you're okay.
Right.
But I thought, gosh,
but that's hard though, because people don't want to live there.
I know, because there's no certainty.
There's no certainty. Yeah.
I know. But I think how much we give our power away to someone that we really think is certain. Why? Warm and fuzzy. You want to live in fuzzy puppy land.
Right.
That's safer and it makes you feel better. But is it true? There's no way to know. So I'm with you. It's kind of I do enjoy living in that space of more of the mystery because we have to. So if you surrender into that process, I think you're better off. But
I remember when I
am.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when I was going to Calvary Chapel a lot and reading the Bible a lot. And I remember always saying, I just want to know what the truth is. And there was a lot of people that were out, going out debating the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Mormons and trying to prove them wrong. And I don't know what the overall intention was to make them become Calvary Chapel style Christians, I think was the idea. But I just remember thinking I don't really care what the truth, I just want to know and get closer to what the truth is.
Yeah.
And I remember even back then in the mid 90s, really comfortable with that part of me, and I'm really feel at ease with that. And I think that it's for me, it's a comforting place. And I totally understand that, a lot of people don't like that at all because there's so much uncertainty to it. But that's kind of why I like to explore the different aspects on our radio show, is that, we have raw vegan people on, we have all manner of different types of people on that talk about different things. I mean, look at the medical medium.
Right.
I mean, talk about a bizarre style person to have on the show.
Yeah, or Chris Kaler with energy healing, energy medicine, and kind of psychic stuff. I know. I
mean, it all comes to play. So the way I look at it is, I look at ideas like you look at a tool chest. You have a bunch of tools. You have a hammer, you have a knife, you have a wrench, you have a saw, you have all these different things in order to build. Actually, what's the actual end result of all of these ideas? And so when I think of using a certain belief system like I would a hammer, okay, I've got 20,000 nails I got to nail into this structure, and so I will use that belief system that is the hammer to accomplish this goal. And then once I'm done, then I can put that down and I can move on to using the wrench for different things. And so I just look at belief systems as means to an end, not necessarily I'm wrapped up in this whole idea of I am the hammer and I am a blank. I look at it more like it's a means to an end. It's all helping build something bigger than me and all this.
I can see that.
That way, when someone attacks your hammer, it doesn't matter
because you personal.
Yeah, because you can use another hammer, you could use a different style hammer, you can use a different tool,
or you just throw the hammer at them.
Yeah.
End of conversation.
taking things personally, and it gets into that whole book, the Four Agreements. You know,
Such a good book.
so
That is such a good book.
that's a great book.
Yeah, I've learned that too. If you don't take anything, and I have learned from emails coming in and people criticizing or things that haven't been nice over the years.
There's been a fair share of those.
There's been a fair share of those.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
everything's warm and fuzzy puppy land.
Yeah, fuzzy
But
puppy land.
Just to let those things go and not take them personally is the fastest way to heal from people that try to wound you with their words or their opinions.
Yeah,
And now I just don't care as much, which is freeing. But
yeah.
I think I almost need to be done,
Okay.
if that's okay.
Yeah, let me just respond to a
Of
couple people
course.
in the chat. Yeah, guys, we are fixing the audio. Chris says bad audio keeps cutting out. We're trying, my friends.
Maybe they can't hear that we're responding to them.
Yeah, well, this is if you. Hopefully, you can. But in the let's see. Someone said something that was interesting. Yeah, Chris wants to know about Dr. Tent. Yeah, we're gonna have him on the show, Chris. Just so you know, we're working on him, Dr. Tent.
What's Dr. Tent all about?
He is. I think he's a chiropractor. I got to learn more about his work, but he's out of Michigan and he's doing some cool stuff.
Cool.
Okay, so is there anything in the Facebook that you want to mention or see or
Facebook is not so
not so chatty?
not so chatty today.
Okay.
That's okay.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us on this 600th episode.
Congrats. High five
Yeah.
from over there.
High five
Bam.
from far away. Stay tuned. This Friday, we're going to have Adam Bergstrom on the show. Let me just do a quick thing really quickly of our upcoming shows.
Yeah, great idea.
AM Pacific time. So if you guys want to join the chat room and stuff like that, we'll be paying more attention to chat on those particular shows. But we just wanted to do a quick 600 episode and just talk about what we've learned. This Friday we have, let's see, let me bring this up. We're going to have Mr. Adam Bergstrom on the show. He hasn't been on in a while, actually.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun. And then Monday we've got Dr. Thomas Cowan. This is all on our homepage, so if you guys want to check it out, you can see it under upcoming guests. Dr. Thomas Cowan, vaccines and autoimmunity, and Ian Jacklin about cancer. And then we're going to have next Wednesday at this time, we'll have Dr. Wong, a much requested guest to come back on. He was on.
The world's coolest voice.
He does,
I
yeah.
love his voice.
Yeah.
He's so cool.
Howdy.
Howdy. He always writes me emails. Howdy, Justin.
Howdy, Justin.
He's great.
And we'll be talking about hormone strength and solutions for your home. So,
some good stuff coming down.
yeah,
Down the pipe.
down the pipeline. All right.
Happy
gonna wrap it up.
600.
Happy 600th.
Happy 600.
Here's to 600 more.
Yeah, I hope so.
Why not?
Here's to like 12,000 more.
12,000. Yeah, I feel like we're just getting started, too.
I feel like
which is
that
cool.
too. I know, it's exciting.
Yeah, a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us.
I
Thank
don't
you
know
for.
which camera to look at. Where do I look? When
You're
I
looking
look?
over here.
Ah, finally. Hi. I haven't looked in that once.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
Yeah, love you guys. And come join us this Friday, 10:45 a.m. Pacific time. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so, and also subscribe to us on iTunes. Get on our newsletter list too, because that way you'll get updates on every new show that we've done, and so you can stay up to date with everything we have going on if you join our newsletter list. So if you go to extremehealthradio.com, thanks for your support in our.
It's
Yeah,
looking
revamp.
really good.
Yeah, it's super cool. I'm
Right on.
stoked.
Yeah, me too.
A lot of high-level products that we endorse and use and stand behind. So thanks for your support on there. And thank you for your patronage.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to extremehealthradio.com, at the bottom, you'll see a link for Patreon. And if you like the work that we do, you can support us on there as well. That's about it, right?
Yes. The
Yes.
Academy?
Oh, the Academy. Yeah.
I should
If
always
you-
tell people about the Academy.
That's right. If you guys want to join the Extreme Health Academy, it is an amazing place for people to take your health to the next level. So every month, this last month, we just did a whole course on autoimmune diseases. We've done one on cancer. We've done one on digestion. We've got like 9 or 10 courses. These
the
are
immune system.
the immune system, the hormonal levels.
system.
Yeah. So we have courses that we questions, and everything is categorized and searchable. So that's going to be coming soon. We've got an awesome forum in there. So if you guys want to join the community, that's an awesome place to be. And I'm really encouraged by it because I think that community is where it's at. Because you and I have this thing where no one in our life thinks the way we think. No one's interested in personal development, spiritual growth, health, any of this stuff. So having a community, I think, is really important.
Yeah.
You know,
and it shows, it reflects in the forums and things. People
Yeah.
are the same type of people are drawn to it, are drawn to each other, which is super helpful. Nobody feels alone.
Yeah,
And there's topics that people are interested in and that aren't, and you find the ones that you are, and then you find like-minded people, and it's really encouraging.
It's really cool. Yeah, people going through the same thing, or people have gone through something successfully and shared what they did, and that helps people for the Extreme Health Academy. So if you go to extremehealthacademy.com and enter the code EHR14, that is for you guys. So that's a free 2-week trial if you guys want to check it out. But as an incentive, actually, what we're doing is if you purchase any of the products in our store, we'll give you a free 4-week trial. So we'll give you a month for free as a bonus for shopping in our store. So
how do they go about doing that?
So our store is like an affiliate store, so they'll click on buy now, and then they'll go to like Bellicon.com and they'll buy the Rebounder or something like that from Bellicon, or the sauna or something like that. And if you send us a receipt of your purchase, and we can verify it on our end that you did purchase through our link, then I'll set you up with a coupon code for 4 weeks off of the Academy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So only people listening. They check out. Does it say to get
because
code?
because where they check out is on other people's websites.
That's what I thought.
So they would have to know that. So if you know that, it's written on the front page of our store.
Got you.
So if you do buy something through our store, let us know so that we can give you a 4-week free trial to the Academy. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Fun.
It's really cool.
It's a good incentive. I agree.
Yeah. All right. We got to go feed babies.
We got to go feed babies.
Babies need to be fed.
Let's do it.
All right, guys. So
Love
the show notes will be available at extremehealthradio.com/600. I'm going to go put the little legal disclaimer on that you read off, Kate.
Okay.
And we love you guys. We'll see you soon.
No material on this blog is intended to suggest that you should not seek professional medical care. Always work with qualified medical professionals, even if you educate yourself in the field of live food, nutrition, and alternative medicine. I'm not a doctor, nor am I offering readers medical advice of any kind. None of the information offered here should be interpreted as a diagnosis of any disease, nor an attempt to treat or prevent any disease or condition. While information in this blog is discussed in the context of numerous conditions, it can be dangerous to take action based on any information in this blog or to start any health program without first consulting a health professional. The content found here is for informational purposes only and is in no way intended as medical advice, as a substitute for medical counseling, or as a treatment/cure for any disease or health condition, and nor should it be continued as such. Always work with a qualified healthcare professional before making any changes to your diet, prescription drug use, lifestyle, or exercise activities. This information is provided as is, and the reader/viewer assumes all risks from the use, non-use, or misuse of